Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? So happy to be here with you today. I hope that you enjoyed yesterday's video where I introduced the Paper Florist Dies. They are fantastic, a beautiful standalone die set that's in our new annual catalog. I hope that you are going to want a set for yourself. I don't think you will regret it. This is them right here, $37. Set of 18 dies. They are fantastic. I can sell those to anyone in the United States, so please support me by purchasing from my online store. I would greatly appreciate that. All right, so this is the card we're going to make today, and I think it's pretty fantastic. I love the colors, and I think that it turned out amazing. So we are using the 2023 to 2025 in color 6x6 DSP, which is this polka dot pattern that we have in the background. Of course, the Paper Florist Dies, which are this fantastic set of dies right here. I'm going to leave those on my desk because we're going to be using them again. And then the sentiment I chose is out of Something Fancy. I really loved that it said grateful for the everyday magic of you. I thought that was a fantastic sentiment. And then if you haven't seen this new shape die set, it is also located as a standalone shape die set in our new annual catalog. And it is called Nested Essentials. It's $34 and you get 12 dies, 4 of each of the 3 shapes. So 3 different shapes, 4 of each, 4 sizes. And I use the largest of this shape right here. So let's go ahead and get started, and I am going to show you how to make this fantastic card. Are you ready? All right, let's get started. So my base of my card is a piece of thick, basic white cardstock. It's 8.5 by 5.5. And you can put it on the Simply scoreboard and score it at 4 1/4. Or you can just play with fire, which is what I'm planning on doing right now. Taking my bone folder. And there is my card base. I cut a piece of 5.5 by 4 1/4 inch of this fantastic pebbled path, which is a brownish gray color. It is from the 2023 to 2025 in colors. And I love this bold polka dot. The other side has this fantastic stripe, but I went with the polka dot. So let's go ahead and glue that into place. We're going to use our wet adhesive and we'll just glue this down. So 5.5 by 4 1/4. All right. Lay that right on our card here. And I like to use my little 2-inch roller here to make sure that turning it upside down, but I'm just making sure that it is nice and adhered to our card. Now for the inside, I had a 1/2 inch piece left over when I cut it because it was a 6-inch piece. Okay, it's a 6 by 6. So this piece is what I cut off right here, I believe. Okay, off of that end. And so I took that 1/2 inch piece that was 1/2 inch by 4 1/4, and we are going to glue that right here on the inside just to tie in our beautiful polka dot pattern. Okay, so let's glue that to the inside. I don't need a liner because I'm using white today. My cardstock is white. And so we're just going to leave a little border of white, and I'm going to have to trim this down because of course the score mark takes up some room. And so I will just make sure that it's nice and adhered. And then I will trim the part that sticks out, which is a very minute amount, right off the bottom. See how tiny it is? A little tiny hair on my finger there. All right. So now we have our card ready to go, our nice base. Let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment onto our largest shape die of those nested essentials that I was talking to you guys about. So this is the largest one, and it is basic white cardstock as well. And the sentiment that we are going to use says, "Grateful for the everyday magic of you." And because I chose to use the Pebbled Path Designer Series paper, we're going to use Pebbled Path ink. All right, so we're going to ink that up. Get it nice and wet. And as you can see here, I've done it in the middle and kind of near the bottom of that shape. So I'm going to get this card out of the way, and I'm going to make sure that you guys can see. And it's going to look real dark at first, but it will fade as it seeps into the paper. So we're just going to stamp that down in this bottom section of our shape. I like to just gently, without wiggling the stamp, put a little pressure over the top of it, and then we're going to lift it straight up. Grateful for the everyday magic of you. Pretty fantastic. I love this something fancy. There's very different sayings in here. May the good you do come back to you. Nothing fancy, just love. Here's to beautiful beginnings and happily ever afters. Of course, there's a thank you, congratulations, and a happy birthday. Then you have you matter to so many. I love that. With deepest sympathy. And I didn't forget your birthday. I'm just stretching out the celebration. So I think that the sentiments in there are unique. And it's a good little set to add to your collection of sentiments. We're going to clean our stamp. And that's all of the Pebbled Path that we're going to use. But we are going to use our Petal Pink and our Fresh Freesia ink pad. So I'm going to bring those out. We're also going to use a small blending brush with Fresh Freesia and Petal Pink on it. And we're probably going to use the soft seafoam as well, which is what we are going to be using for our card here. But I want to show you how I paired together these pieces of cardstock so that you guys could take a nice little screenshot. Let me move these out of the way. And I want to show you all the parts and pieces and what made what flower. So we're going to start on this side. We're going to start with this flower right here. So that one has a large one of these, then a small one of these, and then a small one of this one. Okay. And then it has this stitched piece. So that's this flower. Okay. Let's go to the next flower. So then we have a large and a small of the Fresh Freesia. And then we only have, that's that flower. Okay. Then our middle flower is this one right here. So we have the large and the small of that. And then one of these little tiny pieces of Fresh Freesia. Okay. Let's move on to our fourth flower. And our fourth flower has a large one of these and one of these and one of these. But instead of giving it this center, I took it up a notch. I gave it this center and then this piece. Okay. So there's our next flower. And for our last flower, we have the large, the smaller, the solid, and that piece. Okay. And then for our leaves, we have two, and 2. And I'm going to show you the dies that go with each of these, okay? So this die comes and you get 4, okay? So you need 3 and 3 in the 2 colors. So you only need to be able to cut 3 of them. You need 2 small and 1 large. So these 3 here. Cut them twice, once out of Fresh Freesia, once out of Petal Pink. And that's it for this die. Then you have this die right here, which is what I did these flowers out of. So you just cut it 1 time out of Petal Pink. Now this one here, we have 2 large, 1 large, 1 small of each, and it's a set of 4. So if you put the pattern not pattern paper, if you put the 2 colors of paper here and here, and you cut them out, you'll have your whole set, or you can just do 1 at a time, do Petal Pink, and then run it through again and do Fresh Freesia. Now, these little circle pieces, I'm gonna talk about those. So these itty bitty ones, you get 4, 2 a piece. We only needed 2 of those in Fresh Freesia. And then this one right here, you get 2 in the die set. But we only needed 1 today, so there's the 1. And then the circle, the solid circle, is this one right here. All right. And then this circle is this one that has all these little dots. And the stitched one is this outer one that has the stitching. So those are the circles. And now this piece is the last piece I haven't spoken about. It's this die right here, and it gives you that piece. So that is how we got our flowers. Our leaves, there's only 3 leaves in this package. So you need 2 of this one, 2 of this one, and 2 of this one. And those are all out of soft sea foam. Our purple is our Fresh Freesia, and our peach color is our Petal Pink. So I hope that that helps. Go ahead and grab a screenshot, and those are the order of the flowers as they are from left to right, from top to bottom. Go ahead and grab a screenshot. I'll give you a second to do that, and then we'll move on. We'll start coloring our flowers and get them ready for assembly. All right, I'm gonna move my card out of the way, and we're gonna actually start again from left to right. I'm gonna just start, actually I'm gonna start with the leaves. Let's just go ahead and have the scrap paper from yesterday that I used with Lemon Lolly and Bubble Bath. So today we're just gonna put all of our leaves down onto this scrap paper. And I'm gonna grab my soft sea foam and a small blending brush. And I'm just gonna go around the edges of my leaves. Some darker than others, that's okay. Whatever works for you. Now for this one, I can't really hold it, so I'm just gonna brush over the top. Same here, I'm just gonna wipe off a little darkness and go ahead and brush over the top, and same here. A little bit of, they're harder to hold because they're more delicate. All right, so there's our leaves, and we're done with the soft sea foam. All right, on to our I'm gonna move these guys off of my paper. All right. So we're gonna start with this flower here. I'm just gonna pick up some color, and I'm just gonna go around the edges. I just wanna add a little bit of color on the outer pieces. All right, so there's those. And we're just going to work our way around all of our peach, and then we'll do our fresh freesia, and then we can assemble our flowers. It's easier if you have them ready to go, right? All right, so let's bring in this one again. The outer edges. I think that this is a really pretty flower, this one right here. I'll try and bring the camera down a little when we start assembling the flowers so that you can see a little closer. But for the coloring of them, I think that this is fine. You can just see that I'm adding a little darkness to the outer portions. Well, that one didn't get that much. There we go. And again. I really love adding color to the petals. And then this one is going to be the darkest. I'm just going to do this whole, kind of cover that. All right, so that's it for our petal pink. And let's start on our fresh freesia. I'm going to spin this around since that's wet still and saturated. Again, we're gonna pick up our color and do our outer edges. All right. Very pretty. Add a little color to this circle. This one I'm going to leave alone. Almost done. You don't have to add any ink if you don't want to your flowers. I think it adds a little bit of interest, and all flowers are not one color. Another thing you could do that really would be pretty is if you just ink blended some paper with some ombre of different colors and then die cut your pieces so that they were all different. That would be really beautiful as well. I'm going to actually color this one. So I'm just going to add color right over the top. All right, so there's all our pieces. I'm going to bring the camera down now after I am done putting away my foaming brush. All right, let's bring you guys down. Sorry, I didn't mean to pivot you so much, but there we go. All right, let's go ahead and assemble our flowers. Let's move this out of the way. I need to bring my, actually gonna bring, sorry guys. All right, how's that? All right, so we have our mat over here. We're gonna start with this flower, which is the far right flower. Okay, so the first layer is going to get dimensionals. We're going to use a mini dimensional, and it is this large one. And we're going to take the back off. We're going to add this over the top, and you want the petals to intertwine. We're going to add another dimensional. And then we're going to pull that back off, and we're gonna again want our petals to intertwine, and then we're gonna add just a dot of wet adhesive here, and we'll put our cover. I'm gonna go ahead and glue them all together and then we'll curl them. So that's the first one. We're just gonna put it to the side. Our next one is this, then this. And these are joined by dimensionals. So we'll put a dimensional on the large, pull the back off, and put the smaller one over the top. And then we're gonna add one more dimensional, and we'll add the cover for that one. Put that one there, that's 1, 2. All right, this one is very simple, just a little bit of wet adhesive that will assemble this one. And you just make the petals fit however you think they look best. That looks good to me. And then I'm gonna put another dot of glue. We'll put our center. And there's flower number 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. All right, here comes the next one. We're gonna do large. And we're gonna flat glue this one to this one. And then you're gonna put a dimensional. And we're gonna lay this one. And I'm gonna put wet adhesive. And we'll lay this cool little star piece. And then we'll give that one a dot for this little baby. So that's our 4th flower. You can see how quickly these come together. They're not hard at all to put together. All right, so we're gonna start here. We'll put a dimensional, pull it back off. This one. Then we're going to add another dimensional. And then we're going to put this one here. Put some wet glue. And we'll add our circle over the top. All right, let's do our petals. For this flower that we just finished, I'm just gonna take the large pieces and I'm gonna, actually, let's start with the first one because give it a minute to dry. So for this one, I'm gonna curl these rounded petals back, and the other ones I'm just gonna leave alone. So this one just gets those curled back like that. See how they're curled? The rest are all straight. On this one, I'm gonna curl the biggest one back. So those 4 in the back get curled backwards. These are gonna get curled forward. So I have to flip it this way so that I can curl these forward. And then I will show you the end result. You just have to go real slow. Hold it tight so you don't tear. So you have these curled up and those curled back. Okay. This one stays just as it is. For this one, I'm also just going to do the larger flower. So I'm just going to curl those back. And the ones that are long like an X, we're just going to leave those alone. So there's those right there. And then here for this one, I'm going to do the same thing I did with this flower. Okay, so I'm going to curl the big ones back and the small ones forward. And just take your time, just really molding the paper. There's no rush. Just want a tiny curl on these forward. And you can do them before you glue them down if you want to. I just wanted to have them all glued to make it a little easier to explain them to you guys. But whatever works for you, if you want to do one flower at a time, you can. So these have a little curl to the front. The ones, I think I missed this one. Oh no, I didn't. There it is. And then these are curled to the back. So those are our 5 flowers. All right. I'm going to bring you guys back up and we're going to assemble our card. So give me a second. I will have to move. Make sure you're straight and try not to make you dizzy. All right, so how does that look? Let's put this in place. I think that's pretty fantastic. Okay, so here's our card. Here's our 5 flowers in the order that they're going on our card. And then we need our, of course, our dimensionals. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this piece onto our card, okay? So I'm going to get my wet adhesive out. And I want to glue this into place. So when I place this down, I want this to be about even on both outer sides and about that. I kind of wanted to center it as best I could. Of course, nothing's perfect. So if you're a little high or a little low, it's okay. No one's going to know what my card looks like. And just do your best to lay it down and make sure that you give it a little press. And then I had a little glue on my fingers. Of course, I got some on there, but it's okay. My adhesive remover will remove any extra pieces. And you can see that it dried nice and now it matches perfectly to our designer series paper. All right, so I'm going to start with the middle flower first. To me, that's the easiest way to go. And I'm going to do my leaves last. I'm just going to tuck them in wherever I feel that they need to be. So for this flower, I wanted it to be in the center, kind of like this, but I did want to put a leaf here and a leaf here. I wanted those to be kind of tucked. So I'm going to glue those leaves down by putting an edge. So I'm going to take like 2.5 of an edge of a dimensional like that. And I'm going to make that hold this in place about there. All right. So when I pull that off, that's what my flower is going to stick to. So I have to make sure that the petals cover up that bar. So that's how my flower will get placed in the center. All right, so that's how I did that center flower. Now we're going to work our way out and out. So the next one, all of these flowers are kind of figure out how we want to place them, how we want to put them down. So this one I'm going to add a little bit. I want this to kind of be tucked nicely right here. So I'm going to flat glue it. So I'm just going to put some wet glue here. In the center piece, if I can get the glue to come out. Come on. It always scares me when it does this, because then I know it's going to come out in like a big amount, and I don't want that. All right, that should be good. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to tuck my flower piece kind of behind these petals a little bit. You manipulate your petals how you want your flower to look. So I'm just going to press this flower down. And then once it's dried, I can move my petals around, figure out how I want it, if I want to lift them, what I want to do. But let it adhere first to my card and really grab. That's number one. Okay, now comes our next flower. So for this one, again, I'm just going to put adhesive in the center section. And this one's going to be added here. And because I'm only putting adhesive in the center section, you just want to make sure you push that down real good for it to grab. Once it's adhered, you can manipulate your petals, like I said. Same thing here, wet adhesive. And then this one, we're gonna make sure that we're gonna lift our petal here, lift our petal here, because we want them lifted and above. And we're gonna tuck that flower in, maybe like so, right there. And on to our last flower. So this one I'm gonna tuck like this. And it's going to be up and kind of off and over to that side like so. So these were the only two leaves I put in first. So now we're going to tuck these guys in. Okay, so we'll start with this one. I'm going to put some wet adhesive on the back. And this one's going to get tucked right here. That looks pretty fantastic. So we'll just press that into place. We're going to tuck the other one in this other corner. Again, adhesive on the back. Tuck under those and press that one into place. And now come these guys. Again, adhesive in the back. And I'm going to actually put behind these two petals or leaves. We're going to start on this side. I'm going to lift my flower and I'm going to lay that down like that. And I just want to make sure that it doesn't cover my words. So that that's down and that leaf is tucked nicely. We're going to tuck this one in next. Again, back side. Put adhesive on these last two bottom leaves. All right, this one's gonna get tucked underneath this orange one, like that. Press that down into place. That's what we have so far. All right, let me talk to you about ribbon. So this ribbon here, I have this piece. It's about, I don't know, 14 inches. And I started with a piece like this. Let's see how long it is. No, about 12.5 inches. Okay. So this is part of a 3-pack of ribbon. It's called Sheer Ribbon Combo Pack. You get Azure Afternoon, Bubble Bath, and Lemon Lolly. Those are the 3 colors. Okay, I chose Bubble Bath, and my dark Fresh Freesia Stampin' Blend. Dark Fresh Freesia. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take a scrap paper. I'm gonna trim. Let me grab a small end of this ribbon so I can teach you. All right, so I'm just gonna use a small scrap. Pretend it's like a long 12-inch piece. I'm gonna lay a scrap paper underneath it and I'm gonna use the brush tip and I'm just going to color. Then I'm gonna flip to the other side. Hold on here. Color, color, color. I'm going to flip it to the other side, and if I need to darken it, I'll go back over on the opposite side as well. All right, and it's going to dry. The alcohol is going to evaporate. See how dark it is right now, but it will dry the color of fresh freesia because right now it's still wet. Okay, so what you're going to do next is, I felt like if it was the full thickness, let me show you the pink one, and I tied a bow, that it was going to be too big and bulky on my card. And it was going to block my words. I wanted it to be thin. I just thought this was too bulky, but I love the silver that runs through the edges. It's such a beautiful ribbon. It folds gorgeous. I mean, it's fantastic. So luckily there's 2 light colors in this package, and the Azure Afternoon works for if you're going to do dark colors, and you have your blends. Okay, so what I did was I took my ribbon, and I took my paper snips, and I took my time, and I just went down the center, little by little, all the way down the 12-inch length, and I just held it and cut a little at a time. And then what I ended up were 2 pieces that were long 12-inch pieces, okay, and I ended up with a thinner ribbon. So this was it. This was the other half of the one that I used for this card. So I decided that I didn't really want a single looped bow. So what I did was I took my 3 fingers, held my, and I wrapped it around twice, okay, 2 loops. Then I took this end here and I looped them, right? And I brought this end around my piece here and through to make a knot. And then I just pulled on this piece, and I ended up with 2 loops. Let me try that again. I didn't show it very well. Okay, so we're gonna go 1, 2, okay. Then we're gonna take our little loopies and the piece that's sticking out, which I can't, okay, here we go. You're gonna bring it over the top and around, and then you're gonna bring it through this piece to make a little knot. And you're gonna pull that end. And when you pull it, it starts tightening on those loops, okay? And so you have 2 loop bows. You just have to play with your loop ends and make sure that they're the right size. You just kind of mess with them until you get them just right, however you want your bow loops to look. You just have to play with it. See how I'm playing with mine right now? And I want to make this one a little skinnier, make this one a little skinnier. I'm going to pull on that one. And little by little, you're going to have your bow. Or you can just tie a bow and then tie another bow over the top. But there's mine. I have the 2 loops, 2 bigger ones, 2 smaller ones. And then you have all this fray. And as you can see, it's starting to dry now. It's getting to be more like that color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a mini glue dot. And we're going to take that off. And we're going to find our front and our back of our bow. I think I want this to be the back. And then I'm going to tuck my bow right here in this corner. And there is my beautiful bow. And you just want to make sure that you make the legs behave, of course. If you need to use another glue dot, you do that. You fluff it how you want it to be. Play with it when it's down. And again, now these petals are ready to be fluffed and moved and played with. So what I do is I grab my bone folder and I start playing with them and pushing them and making, like this one I want to be in the front, so I'm gonna make sure it's up. Make sure this one's rounded more. And little by little, you start making your little flower take shape, be more dimensional now that it's nice and glued and in place and all your pieces are down. You want to make sure that your flower is nice and three-dimensional and lifted and pretty. And see, I've fluffed up, laid my pieces in the front that I want in the front. And there's my card. All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the trick about cutting your ribbon in half long ways and adding some blends to the colors so that you get the exact color of ribbon that you want, even if it does not exist at the moment. You can do the same thing with embellishments. You can color your embellishments. I hope you enjoyed this card. If you don't have a demonstrator and you would like me to be your demonstrator, I would love that. Just let me know. And don't forget about the gorgeous Paper Florist Dies and the In Color 2023 to 2025 6x6 Designer Series paper. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. Share the video with your friends. And the ultimate thank you is to order from me. So I appreciate that for everybody who does. Subscribe if you have never visited my channel before. I do bring quite a bit of content weekly for you. And I hope that I will see you here tomorrow for my live video at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for being here, guys. It's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!